Check one, two, check one, two. This is a live audio test, live audio test. This is the Electric Coaches channel, and we are back with another. Hey, what's up, everybody? Back again with another live. This is pretty much an audio test, actually. But I got a few things I'm going to cover while I'm here. How's it going, Eric Muhammad? So you played this game back in the day. Well, we've the game has evolved into other things. You know, it's not just the game board like the one you see here. It's now customization. I got some pictures and things I want to show you guys. Um, Switched over here to the microscope, and I have a piece that I'm working on. And as you can see, the figure has no head, no arms, and the sculpting clay is dried and cracked, but that's okay. Still working on it, still sanding it. You know, we got a crack right here and a crack on the shoulder, and the body overall is still needs to be smoothed out. I'm still running my Dremel across it. I saved the figure like this for this video. I was going to do this video later sometime next week, but felt good about it today. This pretty much is, again, it's an audio test, but it's also a continuation from the last figure video that was done last weekend. So I kept the table. I left those figures out on the table. Still want to talk about those. And of course, you know, for people who didn't catch this video before, you know, I can go back over some things about figures in in this hobby. Let me pull up some pictures here. Just give me a moment, and I'll minimize the screen. Put you over here on the still. Give me a moment. And I pretty much set up this set today off the hip. So I'll bring you back over to our pictures, and we'll look at some pieces here. And what you're looking at is a completed sculpt work compared to the other picture you had seen where the figure wasn't complete. This figure was done about a month ago, and here's a piece right here that's on its way to completion. That's pretty much what you saw in the microscope video, microscope clip, that is. Move up a little bit. This is another figure that was finished. I did that figure like 2 years ago, and I came up with a new one. The same guy, but I did it in a different pose. Here's another sculpted piece. You know, so the figure, it goes from this to eventually this, where it has a head and it's got arms, and then ultimately the figure is finished, as you see here. This is my AJ Brown figure, fully painted, decaled, what have you, and it was derived from this figure you see here on the right. This figure, by the way, is from a company called Game Day. There are many different kinds of figures around the hobby. If you're interested in doing more to your teams, then you want to get into customization, which you see right here with this particular figure. Let's pull up another one. Let me see. We have I get this 49er pose right here. Yeah, these two figures here. These are my two of my 49er figures. These are customized poses The figure on the left is a game day figure. It's one of my latest poses right there, and the figure on the right is was derived from a uh, a traditional Haiti repro defensive back pose. And for those of you outside the hobby who don't know, when I say names like Haiti repro or uh, Hong Kong figure, what have you, there's a reason for that. It's because the certain figures were made during certain eras, and in certain countries. The Hong Kong figures were made in Hong Kong. Uh, this here's a picture of a Hong Kong figure compared to one of my custom figures. Figure on the left is a traditional electric football figure, and this figure here, this is it's supposed to be a New York Jet figure. That figure was manufactured in Hong Kong, and one of the ways you can tell is the difference in the plastic. The plastic tends to have a more translucent look, and sometimes it can be shiny. The plastic is almost glass-like. And if you look at the figure on the right, that's my other customized figure. That's my Devontae Smith pose, and you can see the difference in sizes. So this right here shows you that the hobby has come a long way, from traditional to custom. So now today the game has levels. If you're not interested in customizing, you just want to play traditional, then what you would do is you'll get what I call today a starter set. You would go to Tudor Games, and they sell complete sets. It's the board, two teams, and bases. And you don't have to paint anything. All you have to do is peel and stick the number onto the figure, and put the figure on the base. But the one thing you do have to do, you do have to tweak your bases if you want to get the most performance out of a particular base. All right. So yeah, just what you see here is a traditional figure on the left, which is an electric football New York Jet. And if you look closely, you'll see the number 32, and you'll see how the peel and stick numbers look on a figure compared to a water slide decal when you customize your figures. If you want, you can put water slide decals on your traditional figures. You can do that if you want. Again, there are levels to this hobby. Um, let's see. We're gonna pull up I'll grab this picture right here. See what this one is. All right. Again, here's another example of a custom figure. Compared to a traditional figure. The figure on the right is a traditional figure. That figure, along with that jet figure, those figures came from the company Tudor. This figure is from the 1970s, late 1960s, early 1970s. Those figures. The one you see on the right was the type of figure that a lot of us in the hobby played with a long time ago. It wasn't until later on, into the 90s, going into the 2000s, when guys started, stretching the game out, if you will. We were, in the beginning, we were playing on traditional boards, playing with traditional figures. And later on, like I said, in the 90s, going into 2000, we started playing on custom boards and customizing figures. Okay? Just going to close this out. Let's see. If you now, here's a picture of. I want to pull this one up. Now, this picture right here is pictures from a company called Gotham. Now, these figures are from the early days of electric football. If you go all the way back to the late 1950s, long before my time. But this is what you know the old guys who are older, who are like they're the elders of electric football. These are the kinds of figures they were playing with. All right. We got some more in here. Um, Here's some other custom. Here's some other old school figures compared to a traditional uh, Fab Five figure. There's a figure here, number 19. That figure, by the way, it was a Los Angeles Charger from the '60s, back in the American Football League era. But the other figures to the left are your much older figures. This figure right here and this figure right here were both from Tudor. Uh, the figure on the far left, the one that looks like a piece of metal, that was the first electric football figure back in the day when Tudor first created electric football. The game, by the way, was started back in 1947, and this was the figure that started this hobby revolution, if you will. All right, so the really old guys in the game, that's what they remember. They played with that figure. The red figure is from that's Gotham also. This is also a Gotham figure. And you notice the figures are just one dimensional. They're like just they're paper thin. All right. Let's close this out. Let's go and grab something else. Let's see. I get this Coleco figure here. Okay, these two figures, what you're looking at, is from the company Coleco. The Coleco company, their idea of what a quarterback, what an electric football quarterback should look like, is the figure on the right, the number 16 guy. As you can see, it's towering over the figure on the left, and it's far much bigger than the figures that we play with now. Okay, you will put the ball in the hand of the quarterback here, and there was a lever on the back of the figure. You will pull back and let it go, and the ball will go downfield, and it will hit this intended receiver right here. And the leg, let's clear this out. The leg, this little peg right here, you pull back on that, and you would kick. Okay? You could kick field goals and extra points with this big guy right here. Okay, let me move to a figure that's now that we use now. In fact, let's go here. Okay, these are the quarterbacks that were used, a long time ago. In my era, when I started playing this game back in 1980, 1979, somewhere around there, and this was the quarterback that I used growing up. And the figure on the left here, this is the first quarterback that was used by guys in the hobby back in the 40s and the early 50s. Okay, and of course you already saw this guy right here from Coleco. All right, that quarterback it kicked and it threw. All right, so it was double threat. This quarterback right here, that's the other picture. Okay, I accidentally switched it, but that's okay. Let's magnify this picture a little bit, move it up. Okay, this quarterback right here in the middle, this quarterback in the middle, that was called the triple threat quarterback. It was the acronym for it was TTQB, triple threat quarterback, right? And that's the quarterback that I used, and a lot of guys who are in my age group. That's what we used back in the the 70s and all the way through. I mean, this quarterback goes back to the 60s, the late 60s. Okay. And remember that lever I told you about on the back of the Coleco quarterback and kicker? Well, there it is right there between. It's a little stick that protrudes from the back of the quarterback, right there where the number 16 is. So you would pull back on that lever, and the arm would flick, and the ball would go downfield and hit the receiver. And you also can see the size difference between the Coleco quarterback and the Tudor quarterback here. All right. Let's close this out. Hey, we got 11 viewers, but only one person said something today. Hey, don't be shy. Come on in. Let us know you're in the house. All right. The game has come a long way. This picture right here depicts, a couple of my other completed sculpt jobs. The quarterback that you see in the middle, it's the same configuration as a Tudor quarterback, but it only does one thing. It passes. And here's the passing arm right back here. Okay? It's not designed to run, and it's not designed to kick. This is only a passer. All right? And the two figures that you see next to it, to its left and to its right, is a electric football San Francisco 49er. That's my George Kittle figure. And the figure on the right is my Seattle Seahawks figure. That's my DK Metcalf pose. This DK Metcalf pose, when I made it, I didn't really put a neck on the figure, because I'm going to end up redoing those Seahawks, starting with this DK Metcalf pose. The reason why it doesn't have a neck like the George Kittle figure is because at the time when I was sculpting it, I didn't have the fine drill bit for my Dremel that allows me to go around the neck and remove the excess clay and create that pocket that would represent a neck. So it will separate the shoulder pad from the base of the helmet. So yeah, I would. Yeah, I don't have my setup done over the workbench where I would show you my drill bit. Well, as a matter of fact, I can do something else. I want you guys to sit right here for a moment, and I'm going to grab a couple of these drill bits from my Dremel, and we're going to put them under the microscope, and we're going to take a look at them. Yep, that's what we'll do. Hey, we got 12 people in the room. Like I say, it's okay, guys. If you want to talk, come on in. Going to set these drill bits here. I'll show them to you in a moment. We're going to switch over in a moment. Just want to get them set up. So in the meantime, I'll leave you with the figures. Going to get a good image here. All right. Let's move over. We're going to pull up this screen. Toggle that. Okay, what you're looking at right now are two of the drill bits that I use with my Dremel to produce the sculpt jobs I have on my custom figures. The drill bit you see at the top. Let's get a better focus here. A little blurry. All right. Okay, the drill bit that you see at the top is a rounded bit, and I use that for mostly drilling holes. Um, the hole that you saw with the sculpt before it had arms and head, before it had arms and a head. This is the bit that I use to drill, to punch holes into the figure so I can mount, you know, shoulder or arm for the shoulders and mount the head. And this bit right here is the bit I use to remove the excess clay from the base of the helmet, all right, creating a cavity for the neck. I got some other bits in here too. Let's see. I have a barrel bit also. That's the one I use to smooth out the surface of the figure. That's pretty much the barrel bit, which is mounted on my my Dremel right now. I don't want to take the time to take it off and bring it over. Well, you know, as a matter of fact, I think I do have another one here. Yeah. Let me go in here and get this one. I think this one could represent. Let's see. Yeah, this one. Yeah, I do have like a little a small chest here. All right, I'll bring this one in. This is my barrel bit, and that's the one I use to pass over the broad surface area of the figure to smooth it out. Okay. This figure, well, that bit right there, that's the only bit, so there's no need to illustrate on it. But let me clear the screen. So this bit right here is the one I use to pass over the surface, over the broad surface of the figure to smooth it out. So like, let's go and find a rough picture here. Didn't want to do that. Let's get this picture. Okay, you see how the clay is the surface of the clay is really rough there. Let me magnify this a little bit and bring it in. All right. So I use that drill bit, this barrel bit right here, to pass over the I pass it over the broad surfaces, this broad surface area of the figure. See, and it smooths out the figure. Like you can see it all over. You can see the bumps, the lumps here, there. Just the entire surface of the figure is just not smooth. All right. So no, we don't want that. Close that. All right. So the entire surface of the figure is not smooth, and with this bit, I'm able to smooth out the figure. All right. Let's close this one. And let's go and get another one here. Open this one up. Now, when you see this piece, this is what the clay looks like when I first apply it to the figure. It's still wet in this picture. I put the clay in a little bit of water, and I allow it to air dry, and then I prime it because I use the primer to help seal the clay to get it ready for the Dremel. Because if I put the Dremel on that clay, straight up, the clay will crack and fall off. So the primer keeps it seals the clay, and it toughens the clay, if you will, makes it harder, and I'm able to pass a Dremel over it. Now, some coaches around the hobby, they use a putty called green stuff. They use the green stuff to customize figures, and that's cool. I mean, it really makes awesome pieces. But for me, I prefer using clay because the clay allows you to make mistakes. You can recover from your mistakes when you use the clay. If you put too much on, you can wet it again and cut the piece or the area of the clay that's too much. All right. Now the downside to the clay is it doesn't. You can't do detailed work with it. Like you can't make collarbone guards or the horse collar or the cowboy collars. If you wanted to make that for your figure, if you wanted to make hankies, a rag on your figure, the clay isn't for that. The clay is good for broad areas on the figure. And every time I use the clay, I get better at it. I get better at handling it, and my figures come out. My figures are starting to come out a lot better. Here's a image of how I, prepare the clay for the figure. I take a piece of clay off my block, dip it in water, and then lay it on this spatula. And with this knife right here, I scrape up some of the clay off the spatula, and I begin to apply it to the figure. And I do that until I'm satisfied that I have even coverage on the figure. Okay? Let's close this out. Let me pull up another picture here. Okay, I have these figures here. I haven't done any other sculpts so far, so I'm pretty much using my these pictures I've already shown before. As you can see, especially these two figures here on the left, you can see how the surface has been smoothed out, with that Dremel bit that I showed you earlier here in this picture. All right. So let's see. Let me go back and look at that again. Okay. Yeah, so that you see how smooth the surface of these two eagle figures are right here on the left, as well as the figures on the right over here. The same process was done with them. All right, and you also can see the neck I was telling you about. That needle point bit makes it possible for me to create a neck on my figures. The AJ Brown figure right here, you can't, because of the nature of the pose, you really can't see the neck in this photo. And over here, this is going to be my Dallas Goedert figure, and you can see his neck. inside the figure with the collar. And that's another thing too. When uh when you cut a neck out on your figure, it leaves room for you to be able to paint or decal any trim that's on the collar of the jersey. Like some teams around the hobby they have a trim color on their jersey. In this case, the Philadelphia Eagles, they have a black collar trim. The Saints have a collar trim. The Broncos, and of course, you got Green Bay, you got Buffalo. Their collar trim is very elaborate, and we have decals for that. Um, I have some Packer decals, so I was considering either attempting to paint the collar trim or just keeping it simple and applying a decal for the collar trim, because their collar trim has like three layers depending on what jersey they're wearing. If they're wearing the green jersey, I think it's a yellow trim with green and then some white on top of that. I forget the combination, but it would be a rather challenging task to paint that that collar trim for the Packers or the Buffalo Bills. Uh, let's see what else we got. Stay here in the pictures. Yeah. So as I said in the previous figure video, I talked about if you just want to keep the game simple, you don't want to do a lot of work, then you should get a starter set that comes with teams already painted. For example, these are some Rams that I bought back in the early 2000s when I came back into the hobby. Um, these Rams came in a Super Bowl set from Tudor, and they came with a team of Titans. So as you can see, the figures are already painted. All you have to do is put numbers on and apply bases, put bases on the figure. So really, the only work that you would have to do is maybe do some excuse me. Or the only work you have to do probably is some base tweaking probably, and that's the only, pretty much throughout the hobby, that's the only task that you really have to do if you want to get the most out of your electric football experience. Okay. We got 22 viewers in the room, and only one person has said something. You know, let's not be shy, guys. Come on in, say hello. Chit chat among one another. This is electric football. It's peace here. All right. Let's see what other pictures we have. Yeah, I took this other one here, just messing around. Hey, okay, here's some old Philadelphia Eagles that I bought from eBay. These Eagles are from the 1960s. Okay, we have Marcel Esco from Barcelona. Okay, Marcel, welcome, welcome. You never played the game before. Okay, okay. Well, yeah. The history of this game is called Electric Football, and on this channel here, on the Electric Coast channel, I have games that were played among various coaches around the hobby. And you said you discovered electric football, and thank you for your channel. Well, I thank you, Marcel. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming to the hobby. And I'm glad that you're inspired by uh by my work here on the Electric Coach channel. Um yeah, these figures are 1960s Eagles, and I found them on eBay. I would say about 15 years ago, something like that. Um, okay, Marcel, you said you watch some games and you love it. Yeah, yeah, and I too enjoyed it. I too enjoy playing this game. Um, I said earlier in the video, and really I said throughout other videos I've done here. I've been playing this game since I was 9 years old, 9 or 10 years old. Um, and I stopped playing when I became a teenager, and then I came back to the game between 2002 and 2003, somewhere around there. And when I came back to the game during that time, I noticed guys in the hobby they were doing things that were just totally oh no unheard of back in the 80s. Guys were playing with custom sized boards. There were guys who had stadiums playing inside of that, and it was just overwhelming when I returned to the hobby. You know, and my my becoming the electric coach, if you will, it segues into how this channel got started. Um, I came back to the hobby. The guys were talking about bass tweaking. And in my early days in the hobby, didn't tweak basses with using pliers and cigarette lighters. We basically used our hands. We take our fingers and stroke the prongs back. So I started learning how to tweak basses using hobby pliers, nail clippers, coffee mug warmers, cigarette lighters, what have you. And I started getting good at it. And I started doing other things with this game. And I decided to put this work on YouTube. And it wasn't that that there was no vision. No, there was no vision in doing this work. In fact, it started from a class that I was taking when I was at the University of Maryland, and the professor wanted us to do a website. And I didn't know what to put on the website. I was like, what kind of content am I gonna put on the website? And I looked over at my table. I had my traditional electric football board on the table, and I said, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'll do electric football. So I did that, and I got my grade for the class. Website worked. It passed. And after the class, I didn't need the website anymore. So I decided to keep the website, but I didn't know what else I was going to do with it. So this is during the time I came back to the hobby. So there was this company called Buzzball. They had a website where they were selling, figures. And I don't think I have a Buzzball picture on here. No, I don't. But anyway, Buzzball was selling their figures at the time. Because back in that time, Buzzball was they were one of the premier figure makers. I digress for a moment. So I bought figures from there, and Buzzball on their site, they had other sites linked on their site. So I asked Buzzball, could I put my link on his site? And it was there that other members in the electric football community, they found the Electric Coach channel, but it wasn't on YouTube yet. It was the website that I built from the class in University of Maryland. And this is around 2003, 4, 5, somewhere around there. I hadn't been to any tournaments. Nobody's never seen me. So I went on like this for about 6 years. And one of the guys in the hobby said, hey Mo, why don't you put your stuff on YouTube? Now we're coming around to like 2007, going into 2008, and I was like, nah, I don't know if I want to do that. I really wasn't trying to go and really get deep like that. So one day I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and put this work on YouTube. So in 2008, my first video on YouTube was started, and it was a short video, and I did that. Then ever since then, I just been laying down work. So it's pretty much been I would say I've been doing these videos now since 2002. So it's been 21 years. Yeah, I've been doing these electric football videos. So the work basically started with just running my figures, and I had some monologue videos I had done years ago. I still can do them, but it takes a lot more work now that I'm customizing my figures now. So I started doing instructional videos, showing guys how to tweak a bass. You'll find that on here. It's a video called "Tweaking According to EC." I got a couple of painting videos on here also. So I pretty much use this channel to inspire and teach those outside the hobby how to play this game and how to approach it. When you if you were to come full circle into this game, that being um, keeping teams, playing against other coaches, going to tournaments. When you first do it, it can be quite daunting because there's a process. You just don't walk up and just say, "Hey, I play this game and I want to play against you." I mean, you can do that in a scrimmage, but in a tournament, there's a process. Your team has to get weighed in. You have to basically check in your team. All right, and then all weekend long, starting on Friday night, all the way through Saturday night, you got games to play. So if you got involved, that's something that you're gonna have to look forward to. So a lot of coaches, they don't come to tournaments. They play solitaire. They get their teams and play by themselves. They control both defense and offense. And if that's all you want to do, fine. So yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, that's what electric football has become today. We're no longer kids just playing against our friends in the neighborhood, sitting on the porch or over our friend's house in the basement. Guys still get together and go over one of those houses and still play. But the real play is when you go into, if you're in a league and you got to keep up with a schedule, and then you eventually come to a tournament. That's where the real play is. Okay, Marcel, you said your videos are awesome. I've been watching your channel for years. I love learning from you. Here in my country, in Catalonia, I don't know anyone who plays EF. Yeah, that's true. Overseas, you're the second person that I've heard from who's playing EF overseas. We have a guy called, he calls himself the French guy. and he's a this guy's a real artist. He's a sculptor. He actually sculpts faces on his figures. Haven't heard from him in a while, but he's over in France. So Barcelona's in Spain, right? Okay, if my geography serves correct, you're in Spain. So Spain is next door to France. I'm not suggesting that you and a French guy get together, but I don't know exactly how far you are from the border of France, and then whatever. I'm just saying stuff. But yeah. So yeah, you're the second person that I've met that I've met from overseas who's playing this game. I mean, for the most part, from what I know, this game is mostly an American pastime among a small group, in this country. I mean, I would consider myself one of the last to play this game. I think we got some kids who are playing, but I don't know how far they're gonna go with it. 20, 30 years from now. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but after my generation is gone, I don't know what's coming behind us. Okay. So as I grow on this channel, I'm more motivated by that fact. That hey, I might be the last one. So if I do as much as I can on this channel can be a beacon of hope for the electric football community. You said we should and we'll meet at the border and play a game. Okay. Okay. I mean that could be a cool thing. You guys get together and play on the border of France and Spain. Hey, that'd be awesome. Um, the train over there. I'm not sure if it's still there. Is the Trans Europe Express still rolling? There was a song out about that train, and it ran all the way across all across Europe, I guess. Not sure. Kind of date myself. Well, hell, I've been dating myself throughout this video. Yeah. So let's go over to the table. Let's go over to the game table. We're going to look at a few things over here. I left my figures out from the last live video that I had done concerning these figures. Okay. And what you see right now are bags or wrappings of various types of figures that I have. For example, I got some base styles here as well. Got some base styles from ITZ. It's like 10 packs of these. These are Formula 37 dials, by the way. So if you look here, I have a bag of these are brand new figures right here from a company called footballfigure.net. And the figures look like this. Grab one of these guys. This is what one of the figures look like. And the plastic on these figures is very soft. So you can cut this figure with a hobby knife and alter the pose if you want. So it's different ways of customizing. This figure right here is a Haiti Repro defensive back figure, and this figure is very hard. It's very firm. The resin on this figure is set, and this is this figure is from Tudor. All right. And I showed you a game day figure And this picture right here. This pose right here is known as the rice. And with these game day figures, as you can see, the figure has no arms on it, but the arms are here attached on this sprue. And if you remember that drill bit that I showed you, that ball drill bit, that's the bit you use to cut into the shoulders of the figure to mount the arms when you put the glue on the figure. And also, these are the platform or the stand that you would mount your figure onto. So if you notice, the game day figure doesn't have, it just got the feet, the legs, the feet, but it's not attached. All right. And after you do all the work, let's grab this guy right here. This was the figure you saw on the pictures. You know, it's got a base now. It's mounted on the platform. It's painted. And it's decal. All right. And the game day figures, when they come in wrappers like these. And this particular figure is called the clutch figure. All right. Game day names their figures. They have different names for each type of pose. All right. Here is another pose. This pose is called the Thorpe. All right. Here's another pose named after one of our deceased coaches. His name was Mosique, and he passed. I believe it's been about 5 years now. He's dearly missed. There was another one that we had that was named after another coach that passed on. Keith Chalmers. I don't have that figure on the table here, but Game Day named two of their figures after a couple of our friends who passed on. Let's grab this figure here. This figure is the Moss figure. So, you know, Game Day pack. You know, all the figure manufacturers, they package up their figures and they send them out as you order them. And I already showed you footballfigure.net figures, right? And here is a bag of the traditional Haiti Repro Fab 5 figures. I bought this bag of figures back in like 2005 because there was a company called EFDW out in New Hampshire, and they sold these Haiti Repro figures. Like for 10 bags, you get like 100 bags of figures. You would get like 10 bags of figures for like $100. So I got like a box full of these because I was just stacking up on figures in my early days when I came back to the hobby. We have another question here. Fiero Valentine. Coach, our next level Game Day 2 to 808 and ITZ figures, different sizes and weights. Yeah, they are. All in all, if you give me a moment, I want to put this point out. All right. Overall, if you came to a tournament, you want your figure and the base combined, right, to be no heavier than 4 grams. So when you get different figures from different manufacturers, like you see right here, I have 808 figures. I just didn't put them on the table here. I have yet to buy next level figures. I haven't bought any next level figures yet. But I'll tell you, next level is the truth. They make boards too. They make custom boards also. So yeah, they are different sizes and different weights. And that's very important because when you go, if you take your figures to a tournament, you gotta make sure your figures are no heavier than 4 grams. All right. And since I got you here, this is what we'll do. Since we talked about that weight and size, we have here a scale. And when you go into a tournament, when you check in, your figures are going to be placed on a scale. All right, I'll turn this on. Let me see. I can probably move it down some. I want to get it in the camera so you can see the numbers here. Let me adjust my camera real quick. Bow it down like this. Let's move things up a little bit. We're going to push all this out of the way. Now, you see my scale, right? Now, this is what's going to happen when you come to the tournament. Now, whoever's checking you in, they're going to take your figure here. This is a game day figure, right? And it's mounted on an ITZ base. All right? You're going to weigh it. That figure and base comes in at 3.48 grams. All right? And it's this figure right here. This is the Rice figure. That figure was sculpted from this piece right here. All right? And every figure on your team is going to be set on the scale. And it doesn't stop there. They're going to take every figure. So let's do this. I got my linebacker figure right here, right? My Dre Greenlaw. And he's mounted on an ITZ base as well. This is another kind of base, right? Let's put him on the scale. His weight with that base comes in at 4.06. This right here is a teachable moment. All right? As it stands right now, that figure cannot play in a tournament. So let's say I came to a tournament and this figure was put on the scale, as you see right now. I would be told right then at the check-in table before the tournament starts. Now, mind you, if I came to a tournament, especially if it's out of town, I spent money for my hotel, I spent money on gas, what have you, right? And I'm at a tournament now with this heavy figure. I got two choices. Either this guy won't play, or I'm going to have to do something to get this weight down. All right? And, hey, there were guys at different tournaments who were faced with that dilemma. Either that figure won't play, or you got to do something to get that weight down. So this is what I do to resolve this issue. And now, mind you, these things should be done before you leave your house. Your house, your home, wherever you live at, wherever you stay, is your training camp, if you will. All right? That's where you practice at. And it's up to you to have your team ready for game time. All right? I'm making adjustments to this camera right here. All right, give me a moment. Straighten it out. All right. All right. It's up to you to have your team ready before you leave your house. All right, now, we're going to put this guy back on the scale again. And that figure comes in at 4.06 grams. All right, 4.05. At any rate, whichever one it is, that figure is too heavy. So now, I have another base right here. Like you'll see guys at the tournament, you would think they were moving in. You got guys coming in with with toolboxes and cases, and they have pliers, they have everything they need to work on their team should an incident like this occurs. All right. So now, in order to get this guy's weight down, I'm going to take it off this base. See, and the difference with this base is the center of it has been cut out to reduce weight. It's the same base as this blue base, right? Except it's clear, right? So me, although I don't compete at tournaments because I'm behind the camera and I'm watching the guys, I'm getting them. If I came to a tournament, I'm gonna bring extra gear, my extra bases I know I can play. Now with this base, that's with the center cut out, the figure comes in at 3.56 grams. You see? Just like that. I reduce the weight of that figure and I know this base can play. So you want to have reserve players. Now the tournament says you only have but so many players. I believe you're allowed to have, I think you have no more than 50 figures, I believe it is. Don't quote me on that. But I know it's more than 30. I know that much. I forget the exact number. Let's see, it goes. Is that base inferior to the other base? Let's see. This base, the blue one, I had it on one of my cornerbacks. Back when Richard Sherman was playing for the 49ers. This base was a corner. And this base, I used it to test my sculpts. So I have yet to really match those two bases up. So to be quite honest, I'm not sure. And then again, depending on what figure you put on the base, it can make a base do different things. The pose of your figure has an effect on how the base performs. So if you got the tweak of the base, the pose of the figure, the weight distribution of the figure, the surface of the board, and the vibration oscillations of the board. All right, all those things play a part in how a base performs. You can take a figure. Say for example, I leave this linebacker on this base. That linebacker may be very powerful, and it may push, right? But it may be a little slower. Then if I take this same base, right, and move it to this guy, it may run with more speed, and it may get pushed around a little bit. So that's where your practice comes in. When you are at your table, your game table, in your abode, wherever it is you live, right? And this is my place here, right? This right here, it doesn't move anywhere. See, when I was a kid, my mother would have never allowed me to have anything like this in the house, just sitting there. No. I don't know. If you guys out there, you ever heard your parents say, when you get grown, you can do whatever you want. Right? Back in the day, when I was a kid, I had a board, and when I was done, I had to put everything away. Well, now I'm an adult. My game set sits right here all the time. And when I need to come in and do something, I walk up to it and I get busy. I want to do a video right here. When I'm ready to practice, I come right here, get started. All right, whatever it is I want to do in this hobby, I come right here and do it. I don't have to set anything up pretty much. All right. So yeah. What we got here? It says, uh, for sure not. Now it's my wife complaining. Yeah, I got stories, guy. I got stories. But I'm the spot where I'm at. I'm at a place in the house where I'm separated from all other home activities. So whenever there's wife has friends over, I come here and she's there with her friends, and they can't hear me and I can't hear them. I watch movies down here too, but that's another story. So yeah, when you come to a tournament, you're gonna be you gotta get on the scale. All right. Also, since we're talking about tournaments and checking in, your figure also has to pass this. All right. Now, to the uninitiated, you see a box. Just it's a piece of plastic. This box was made by Steve Toth out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He also makes decals. Well, he used to make decals. He sold his decaling company to Vinny. I forget where Vinny is located at, but that's something else. This box. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right, Fiora, the man cave. All right, this box right here is where the size of your figure is measured. Okay? Let's break this down a little bit more. All right, right there. This is where the size of your figure is measured. The figure must fit inside this space. All right? It can't be, its arms can't touch the sides on the inside, and its head can't touch the top. All right? If it does, guess what? Your figure is disqualified. And if your figure is touching the inside of this frame, it's almost impossible to reconfigure, to change the pose of your figure at check-in, because these figures once the paint dries, the glue dries, trying to take your figure apart and put it back together again to make it fit inside this box is pretty much impossible. So that's why before you leave your home, again, wherever you live at, and you're going to a tournament, you gotta have yourself together. All right? That means you have to allot time for practice. If you want to play with a customized team, you're gonna have to allot time to paint, decal, sculpt, pour resin molds, whatever it is you want to do to get your team ready for a tournament. You have to allot time for that. And when you start talking about customizing figures throughout, it can take about a year. So let's say you went to a tournament with standard figures. Now you come into a tournament and you playing with these guys. You just put some paint on them, gave them a uniform, put a number on them, and you match up. And then you decide, well, next time I come to a tournament, I'm gonna play with custom figs, right? Well, hey, guess what? You need to get, as soon as you get home from that tournament, hey, look, guys fly out. As a matter of fact, it's gonna be a tournament in California. I believe it's the last week of this month. Guys get on planes. I've done it. I've flown to Texas to go, and I brought my camera gear to Texas, and I brought stuff, my figures too, and I went out to a tournament, booked a hotel room and all that, right? you want to, if you want to bring your custom team, you're gonna have to, as soon as you come home, as soon as you arrive home from that tournament, get started building that custom team. Right? Make sure they're weighed properly. Make sure they're the right size. Make sure your paint is dried and good. Any clear coat you want to use, make sure that's right. Order your decals long before that tournament comes up, because I guarantee you, if you procrastinate, that tournament, the next year's tournament will be upon you, and you're not gonna. 1 month is not long enough to fully customize a 30-man team or 40-man team and think you're gonna be ready to play, over a weekend. Okay? So if you want to get involved and really be in this, you're going to have to be willing to prepare. I mean, it's like being a real coach, except you're dealing with inanimate objects. These little pieces of plastic right here. See? You got to get your mind right to come and play. Especially if you gotta travel like by plane, we got the after the tournament in California, I forget the name of that tournament. It's the fault line. It escapes me right now. The name of that tournament escapes me right now. But after that tournament, come April, we got the Capital City Clash in College Park, Maryland. Now, for me, I don't have to travel for that. I get off work and just drive to the tournament. So I'm already home for that tournament. But for people who gotta we got guys coming from the deep south, from Georgia, and they're driving 10 hours to get up here to match up. Got guys flying in from Florida. And when those guys show up, they are ready to play. The serious guys, what they do is they have a team that they use for tournament play all the time. The team is already put together, it's already built, and that team is strictly designed to play in tournaments. And the other teams they have is what they use for solitaire play or practice, what have you. So you can shape your team however you want. All right? If you want a team that plays only tournaments, you can do that. If you want that same team to be the team that you play with all the time, you can do that. Right? Some coaches, they got bases they use for tournaments, and other bases they use for solitaire, and the team is the same, but they swap out the bases. So whatever it is you want to do in this game, right? All right, so we've been at it now for about an hour 18, right? No one else has anything else they want to talk about or convey. So I'm going to, end this video, and I'll see you guys later.